Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're receiving this information. Mental health is an issue that we don't typically talk about. Specifically in the Latinx community, we don't talk about it because then we actually have to acknowledge that there is work to be done. Today, I'm going to be talking with you as a member of the humanities faculty at Santa Rosa Junior College, the president of the board of Humanidad Therapy and Education Services that provides therapeutic services that are culturally appropriate for the Latinx community, and as the executive director of Líderes del Futuro Avanzando, a nonprofit organization in Sonoma County that works to provide scholarships, special training in the summer for youth in middle school and high schools, and a lot of additional resources, including immigration resources. And with that, let's get started. Recently, we did research, and we're going to focus on this video on research about the Latinx community in high schools and at Santa Rosa Junior College. One of the things that Líderes del Futuro Avanzando does on a regular basis is research. And so we're going to combine the results of the high school research and the community college research. We recently conducted 253 high school surveys with students from the city of Santa Rosa. And we want to be clear, it wasn't one district, but it was multiple districts in the city of Santa Rosa. And it's important for us to understand that because of COVID, because of the fires, because of many other situations that our children are facing on a daily basis, they are dealing with depression, anxiety, and many other problems. And for us at the community college level, it's important to understand what is coming this way. We conducted the patient health questionnaire, and 57% of the individuals who took this survey, this is the high school one, and we're going to cut down on the number of slides here in order to be able to get to the college version of it. And so 57% of them were females and 42% were males. Of those, we had students who were 9th grade, 10th, 11th, and 12th, with sophomores being almost half of all students. Most of the students who participated in this research were Latinx, Latino, Latina, Hispanic, whatever way they self-identified. But there were a few African Americans, white, Asians, and non-Native Americans who chose to participate. We asked these individuals in the last 4 weeks, have you had an anxiety attack? 23, almost 24. So out of 253, 23% of them have had an anxiety attack in the last 4 weeks. We also asked them how many of them are feeling down, how many of them are feeling depressed, tired, they have poor appetite in general, and have difficulty concentrating. And close to 150 of the 253 are having these issues several days in the last 2 weeks. The number of those who are having those issues more than half the days, and even the ones who appear to be having the issues on a regular basis, on a daily basis, is very, very high. And it's important for us to understand, because when these kids come to school, whether it is high school or the community college, these individuals, again, they walk in the door needing support immediately. But if we don't ask, how many of them are going to come over, raise their hand, and say, hey, I need support? And there's an easy answer to that question. 50% of them said they do not feel comfortable approaching their teachers when they're feeling down. This is important because one would assume perhaps that these individuals may not talk to their teacher, but would feel comfortable going to their counselors. And unfortunately, 56% of them don't feel comfortable going to their counselors. We also have to recognize that in many schools, some counselors is one counselor for every 500 to 600 students. Now, the National Association of Counselors, again in the United States, their suggestion is that it should be 250, but no more than 300 students per counselor. And this is the reason that sometimes students go to a counselor and they say, hey, can you help me? And it's like, fill out the form, somebody will get back to you. And 2 to 3 weeks later, sometimes, and again, I've been doing this for 27 years, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 weeks. By the time they call the kid, either the issue has been resolved or other consequences have taken place. This is important for us to understand. And then we ask them how many of them feel comfortable talking to a family member. 30% of them don't want to talk to a family member when they're feeling down. So if they're not talking to their teachers, they're not talking to their counselors, they're not talking to a family member, who are they going to talk to? And this is important because a lot of these students are not comfortable talking to administrators. And in fact, we specifically avoided putting that question there because we know that a lot of administrators, part of their role is to do disciplinary action. And for this reason, there is no purpose on putting it in the questionnaire as to whether or not they would feel comfortable going to an administrator. And that's in case anybody has that question. But again, if they don't go to the teacher, the counselor, or the parent or caretaker, who do they go to? Well, 90% of them, they said that when they feel down, they go to somebody else that they trust. The problem with this is they go to their friends, and sometimes their friends are just as unhealthy and feeling down. And this is where some of these kids, unfortunately, end up using alcohol or other drugs. 25% of these kids out of 253 said that they know somebody who has turned to alcohol or other substances as a way of coping with their feelings of depression and anxiety. So sometimes they go to their friend and they say, hey, friend, I'm feeling down. Yeah, me too. Here's some weed. Here's some alcohol, right? Different things. Some of these kids, in looking for love, affection, respect, and just hope, they end up also reaching out to people they think are friends, but may end up being gang affiliated. Or one of the things that we're seeing now on a regular basis is they go into applications like Snapchat and Instagram and other places that are super unhealthy for them. They keep looking at stories that just make them feel worse. And once in a while, some of these kids end up connecting with strangers that may actually end up making it worse because they end up abusing these children. And so we asked them as well, do you feel ready for college? And interestingly, again, out of 253, only 24% of them felt ready for college. A direct quote from one of the youth said, no, not ready for the stress. About 10 to 12% of the youth also said that they were not planning to go to college. And this is problematic in a world that often requires either an associate's degree, a 2-year degree of college, or higher to be able to get some form of employment that will be able to pay for the housing, the food, and other responsibilities in the future. And so then we went and we did research with students from the Latinx community at Santa Rosa Junior College. We got 77 responses, and 57% of the respondents were between the ages of 18 and 21, meaning they just started this year or they only have about a year into college. And the older individuals were in their 40s and early 50s. And again, other groups were in between. So we asked them whether or not they were currently employed, and 68% of them said yes, they were employed. They work in retail or the food industry. And again, some of the ones that were not working, they said it was because their job had been seasonal, or they had no childcare at home, or they had been dealing with illness, including COVID. And some of them were not working because they were trying to focus on school. We asked them if they were currently full-time students. And again, 40% of them said no. And the reason they were not full-time students at the time is because, as it says, I feel it's too much to take care of my kids and study at the same time, said one student. The other one said, I could only afford 2 classes this semester. When we asked if they were taking in-person classes, one student, again, 24% said no. And one student said that the reason they were not taking in-person classes was because they deal with social anxiety. And as a result of that, taking online classes helps them control their anxiety and fear. From personal experience in the classroom, I noticed a higher number of students dealing with anxiety, sometimes needing to step out of the classroom for a couple of minutes just to be able to get control of that and then walk back into the classroom. I also am seeing less participation in larger discussions, but I'm seeing students who participate by writing statements and feedback. Another student said that they prefer having an in-person interaction with both professors and fellow students, and that's why this individual was taking in-person classes. When we asked them whether or not the faculty support their success, why or why not, one individual said, yes, my professors and a couple of members of SRJC support me. Somebody else said, no, I feel like most faculty at Santa Rosa Junior College have gotten used to working remotely, but forgot how important it is for students to have someone face-to-face to understand better. And again, this has to do with the material, but then to get the support in clarifying the material. So office hours, so on and so forth. We asked the students if they were having difficulty with their classes, whether or not they ask faculty for support. And a few of the responses are no, because I have crippling social anxiety. And again, this is what is becoming to a certain degree sometimes some form of normal, unfortunately. Also, another student said, I have tried asking questions. I have decided to look for teachings from online videos instead. I do not, as I feel it is something I should take responsibility for, which is not at all how education should work. Faculty at Santa Rosa Junior College have office hours to be able to support students, answer questions, so on and so forth. And then sometimes I do and other times I don't, said a student, because I get nervous and shy around them, even though their intentions are to help. And again, it's about creating healthy spaces for these individuals. Another student said, no, I feel like at college level, you have to get the job done or quit, which is absolutely the wrong way to think about college. As I've said to students and other individuals in the community for many years, nobody makes it on their own. And people who claim that they did it on their own and were successful are either unwilling to recognize the support they got from other individuals or are simply lying. And that has been my personal experience with these individuals. And so, again, what can faculty do and how do we improve the services for students who are dealing with anxiety, depression, and feelings of inadequacy? When we ask students, are you having emotional difficulties as a result of COVID or other events happening in your life? One individual said, yes, my older son ended up with social anxiety. Another individual said, in general, I am a very anxious person. And with COVID, I feel like my anxiety is off the roof. Somebody else said, yes, the isolation from socialization with others has affected my emotions. And a lot has to do with being unable to be in a class setting. So some individuals want to come over and be in the classroom, but they are dealing with social anxiety. A couple of individuals suggested that because the classes were not in person, available in person, they couldn't participate in the way that they wanted to. Another individual said, it's been pretty hard for me to transition from high school to college since I'm 17. I've been taking classes at Santa Rosa Junior College since I was 16, but not as a full-time student. I'm hoping the best for me next semester since it is heavy with math and science. And again, just to clarify, this research was conducted in fall 2022. It took us some time before we presented this at Professional Development Day at Santa Rosa Junior College, but we are creating this information in a video and audio format in order to be able to make sure that it goes and is shared with the public in general and in other places. When we ask if you were having an emotional difficulty, would you feel comfortable reaching out to faculty for support? Again, some of the individuals said, no, thanks. Everyone was having their own problems. Why would I just pour my emotions on someone? And again, it is important that individuals don't feel isolated. It is important that healthy and welcoming spaces be created. Before I continue, I want to make sure that whomever receiving this information, this is in no way, shape, or form to shame any faculty member or staff at Santa Rosa Junior College. But we need to do this type of studies and research in order to be able to understand our population. I am also sharing this information because I want to invite the K-12 system to conduct similar research. We did it with some high school students, again, 253 of them. But if we had had more time, we could have done it with middle school and other individuals. So again, we need to figure out how are our children feeling. And if any parents are receiving this information as well, it is essential that on a daily basis, we check in with our children or students, that we go check in their school to see how they are doing. For the K-12 system, a reminder that community college university parents can no longer come over and ask for that information. But in the K-12 system, that needs to happen. For community college students, it's important that we get them to participate. Raise your hand, reach out for support, right? So let's continue. Another individual said, I know the JC could provide therapy for students, and it's something I've been wanting to use since my family cannot really afford it right now, but it's not a long-term thing. You only get a few sessions. I understand why, but I know that if I was going to get therapy, I would want it to be with more sessions than the JC provides. Again, it's important that Santa Rosa Junior College understands this, knows this, to be able to determine how can we support these individuals. Then we ask the participants whether or not they knew if Santa Rosa Junior College had a health clinic on campus. And what they said was only 58% of them knew that there was a health clinic on campus. 40% of them do not have that information. This is problematic because if they don't know that there are those services, how will they make it to therapy? How will they make it for a checkup, right? Physical or whatever the situation may be. This is why we need to be aware of this information. We asked the individuals, are you aware of any mental health services on campus? Again, 63% of them said yes, 36% of them said no. That should be 100%. 100% of the students should know that there is a health clinic on campus, that there are mental health services on campus. This is essential information if we want our students to succeed. And again, knowing the information from the high school students who are feeling uncomfortable and not ready for college and dealing with issues of anxiety, depression, difficulty sleeping, staying asleep for too long, or unable to stay asleep, dealing with a lack of appetite, dealing with back pain, stomach problems, so on and so forth, they all should know that Santa Rosa Junior College has a mental health services department. When we ask specific individuals, do you feel comfortable seeking mental health services at Santa Rosa Junior College? Some of the responses were no, because again, I tend to keep to myself. Also, someone said, I don't think so. I'm attempting to find mental health services elsewhere. Somebody else says, I would if they were licensed therapists or counselors. Again, not understanding that these individuals are, many of them are in the process to be licensed, and some of them are licensed specifically, right? So after you finish your master's degree, you have to do a certain number of hours supervised, right? This doesn't mean that these individuals are not licensed, right? But they are in the process of getting their final paperwork. Somebody else said, I don't feel comfortable because it's not a place I like to cry on campus. Again, as a society, we have not created healthy spaces for our children. And as a result of that, people feel uncomfortable. And we need to teach our community that there are ways to healthily explain or share our feelings and our emotions. Somebody else said no, because I feel like it wouldn't really be considered confidential. Again, there needs to be more work done on divulging the services so that people understand what is confidential, what is not confidential, and the fact that therapists have to, by law, whether at Santa Rosa Junior College or out there in the community, under certain circumstances, have to, by law, report certain things. But the rest of it is absolutely confidential. Somebody else said no. And that's based on what other people have told me about services not meeting their needs and wait times it takes to see someone. I personally made a recommendation in August of last year that group sessions of support, mental health support, should be provided in order to make sure that everybody got access to resources at Santa Rosa Junior College. This is what Humanidad Therapy and Education Services provides. They do community convivencias for adults, and now they do youth convivencias for high school age students. And so again, it's important. Those type of conversations are healthy. A series of topics are chosen, and as a result of that, 8, 10 individuals get support. And the last response here, somebody said, no, I have tried their services, and the individual that was helping me was no help. All the person did was listen to me and gave me zero advice. I was hoping for coping skills, but nothing was given. All the person said, I don't know what to tell you. So again, in no way, shape, or form, this is to shame anybody, but we need to make sure to have honest conversations if we are to improve. And then we ask the students, what can the department do to make sure that students are aware of all their services? And this is the student health services at Santa Rosa Junior College, and create a welcoming space. Somebody said, if I was insured, everything was confidential. Somebody else says, I'm not sure. I really like the idea of mental checkpoint, like weekly, like posting something like drink water, or don't considering the slower pacing, right? It's important for us to motivate students. The other one says, eat 3 meals a day, right? Something simple. Now, Líderes del Futuro Avanzando has an Instagram that post information, and we will share the link to that in a minute. But Líderes del Futuro has been doing that for over a year now on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Facebook, as well as some of them are posted in the SRJC app almost on a daily basis now. This is a recent approach to promote mental health. And then the other individual said, explaining what kind of mental health work they have experience in or knowledgeable in. Again, this is a form of outreach. Somebody said, making short presentations during classes. They could also reach out by email. And the individual said, I hope that my son was called to some type of support with the counselor and was asked how he was doing. I believe in-person check-ins, and this would have helped my son. He was too shy to ask for help. And again, this is all about bettering the services, because we all can improve. In the same way that in my classes, I invite my colleagues, I don't call them students, I call them colleagues, to give me feedback on my teaching and how I can adjust my teaching to be able to reach their learning style. We all should always seek support in order to better what we do. And then we asked them, do you know if there is a food pantry on campus? Again, 70% of them said yes, 30% of them said no. And we asked, if you are aware of a food pantry, have you used their services? One person said, I haven't yet, since I don't think I qualify. Somebody else said, I haven't because I haven't had time to stop by. Another individual said, I have not because I have no idea where it is. Furthermore, another individual said, I have not because I'm still not sure where to access that. And then in the next three individuals, one said, I didn't know that the campus had one. I have not used their services because I have not been able to go at the times they offer it. And another individual said, it's not advertised. So again, the feedback here is obviously everybody should know about this food pantry. We do have students at Santa Rosa Junior College. A good number of them are unfortunately homeless, right? So the food pantry would be a great place. A lot of the students at Santa Rosa Junior College are considered low income, and a food pantry access would be important. When I worked in EOPS years ago, 2015, 16, I started a little snack corner where I would provide coffee and snacks to students out of pocket because we saw that need. And I'm glad that now that department provides regular snacks to students. But again, that's how these services need to begin. And we found out that most students, even though Santa Rosa Junior College has about 30 clubs on campus, Santa Rosa and Petaluma, this year, most of the students do not participate on clubs. And they said it was because they didn't have time due to work schedules, school classes, and family responsibilities. So how do we support our students at Santa Rosa Junior College? We need to provide information about mental health services, and individuals, students from Santa Rosa Junior College can go to shs.santarosa.edu. And again, shs.santarosa.edu. And I invited all faculty, and I invite faculty who may be receiving this information to post in the syllabi this information. Also, another way, as it was suggested by the students, to invite the student health services representatives to come and present in classrooms, to also conduct activities in the classroom for students to get to know each other, and therefore students can support each other and support each other in regards to referring to other services. It is important also for Santa Rosa Junior College to provide safe spaces for students to go and talk to faculty. And again, faculty can and staff can refer students with something we call the warm handshake. to student health services when we're talking about mental health. And again, the pantry. Faculty could also offer some form of extra credit opportunities for students to participate in mental health events. There are lectures that are offered once in a while, right? So this would be helpful. I personally conduct a scavenger hunt at the beginning of the semester, every semester, as a way of getting students introduced to the health services, to the financial aid office, and many other departments. Again, nobody who ever succeeded did it on their own. Anyone who tells you otherwise is unaware or unwilling to see the support they got. And in college, we all can succeed if we work together. It's important to find the right resources and make them available to students. And it's important, again, to conduct things like the scavenger hunt so that students will be able to get access to the information. And one final thought here, adult students with families need more access to services by extending the time for services and resources. It is essential that this happen. We always want to remind students and community service that the suicide prevention hotline now is 988. That way, from your cell phone, you can text 988 if at some point you're feeling down and depressed, or you can call 988 and it's set up to get somebody live. You can text about your problems, mental health problems, or you can call somebody. The North Bay Suicide Prevention Hotline is 855-587-6373, 855-587-6373. Also, another resource in the community, NAMI Sonoma County. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So NAMI, N-A-M-I, sonomacounty.org. And of course, Humanidad Therapy and Education Services. You can go, or you can call 707-525-1515, especially for individuals who are trying to find the information about teen convivencias, which is teen support groups for mental health. It's important that we do this and that we support each other. And with that, my name is Rafael Vasquez Guzman. I am a faculty member in the Humanities Department at Santa Rosa Junior College. I am also the executive director of Líderes del Futuro Avanzando, a nonprofit organization that is there to support the Latinx community, whether they are born in the United States, whether they migrated, whether they are refugees, with immigration information. I provide DACA renewal paperwork for free. We provide scholarships, including the Mike Garcia Scholarship in memory of Mike Garcia, a former employee, friend, colleague, and mentor at Santa Rosa Junior College. We also provide the Dr. Maria Hess Scholarship, and that scholarship is for individuals who are graduating high school or are at Santa Rosa Junior College or Sonoma State and are pursuing a degree in psychology. And we have the Leo Jimenez Carreño Scholarship for individuals who are graduating high school and plan to attend Santa Rosa Junior College or Sonoma State. Individuals can go to the website lideresdelfuturo.org, and the information about the scholarships should be there. If not, the first week of March, the second week of March, 2023. And again, I am privileged and honored to be the president of the board of Humanidad Therapy and Education Services that provides culturally appropriate therapeutic services to the Latinx community in Sonoma County. Or TikTok and or Instagram is líderes_del_futuro with double O at the end. With that, again, my name is Rafael Vasquez Guzman. Thank you for your time.